This is the lot next to the Roosevelt Hotel where we've got this construction project going on. The weird thing is usually, I mean, maybe I don't know what I'm looking at, but these permits usually tell you what it is that's being built. This just says commercial. I don't know, maybe that's normal. Maybe it's another hotel. There's a lot of stuff to discuss today about Eric Adams, the mayor of this once great city. He's a stupid idiot and a criminal in my estimation. So see, we got a lot of stuff going on here. Union carpenters. I don't know what they're building. I guess we'll find out soon. I don't know, I just find everything having to do with this Roosevelt Hotel extremely suspicious. We spoke the other day about how this is where the FBI came and questioned Charles and then showed up. You know, they said they were driving in from DC and then showed up here in like an hour, which it takes like 3 or 4 hours at least to drive from DC, so Charles was suspicious of that. Also, the other day I was over here and there was a sign that said that the Army whatever thing they were running over there had closed and moved to 45 East 45th. I was very confused by that. Turns out 45 East 45th is the Roosevelt Hotel. So I mean, I don't know, is that weird? By the way, look at these photos. It's actually pretty nice in there. I don't know how recent those photos are or if it's still nice like that, but it's nice rooms, nice. I mean, this seems like you'd be renting it out to people who want to come and, you know, vacation in Manhattan, be tourists, and stay in a nice, seemingly expensive looking hotel. But it seems like the Army has taken it over, had some real signal problems over here, you know, the other day. So you're going to be very careful to not get thrown off the internet. I hate it when that happens. But the Army is inside here now, it seems. They've moved their operation into the hotel. Nobody here is going to answer me because they know they're doing something wrong. And see, they got black on the, oh no, maybe not. It's just hard to see through 2 sets of windows. They don't want their faces seen for sure. It seems like that side of the hotel is where the signal disruption occurs. So I'm just going to try to avoid it initially rather than recovering the broadcast. They're mobile medical imaging people, for sure. What is going on here? We really need to know. I wonder, does Christy Nome know what is going on here? Is the Army has moved their operation inside the hotel, right? No, nobody here is going to say. They're putting on masks. They don't want to be seen. That's always the way honest operators engaged in good faith conduct act, right? Put on masks. Don't want to ask. Don't want to answer questions. Seems normal. Not really. Seems like there's something going on there that shouldn't be going on. So what does this have to do with Eric Adams? Well, I can't say that I know, but I'm definitely curious. Just gotta monitor here the live stream, make sure it is in fact live. Hallelujah, it is. Lots of money spent and care taken. It does still seem to be maybe getting disrupted a bit, though. Let me not. Not really. Okay. Anyway, Eric Adams. Everybody knows he's under indictment, so you know these people don't care. Even though it's illegal to be here and illegal to sell food out of coolers, and people are getting arrested by ICE, there are still people doing illegal sales. Still people supporting the purchase of illegal food, and people paying taxes aren't gonna get paid. So guys, what's going on with the Army inside this hotel? What's the deal with the Army in there? What's the Army doing in here? What's going on with the Army in there, guys? you know what they're doing is illegal, and you guys involving yourselves, you could get in trouble, right? What's going on in there? No hats, no hoodies, no glasses. But yet there's people going in there with hats and hoodies. So they know these people. They have some sort of security tag. We still seem to have Army protected people in this hotel, even though there's clearly crimes going on. Okay, so I mean, again, if we're going to decide like, well, this crime is all right, this crime is not all right, I don't know. That woman's hiding her face now because she knows she's breaking the law. Kristi Noem should get over here, clear out this hotel, figure out what the hell is going on here. See, and this guy looks like he was here the other day smoking a cigarette. Do you know what the Army is doing in the hotel? Do you know what the Army is doing in the hotel? Suspicious looking guy. All right, so Eric Adams, in my view, clearly knows what's going on in these hotels. The Walcott Hotel, remember, we had that really weird reaction from the cops. Eric Adams is, maybe more than any other mayor before, seems to be in control of the cops. Sal Greco, John McCarry, and Eric Dim have told us that he's doing things, you know, with the chief of department and the new commissioner, Jessica Tisch, that indicate that really Eric Adams is controlling the NYPD through these apparatchiks, trying to prevent Jessica Tisch from really doing anything meaningful. And remember, we had that very weird tweet from Eric Adams just the other day where he said, oh, you know, NYPD, we're participating in this multi-agency thing, as we always do. So that was a curiously timed tweet, because we've heard that Eric Adams has got like the Sicilian flu or some sort of unknown ailment where he's not feeling well. And there were rumors swirling that he might resign. I heard about 24 or 48 hours ago that Eric Adams would be resigning within 72 hours. I don't know if that's true or just a rumor. I have absolutely no evidence to verify that. I just heard it. The other thing that was quite interesting, I don't know if people were watching yesterday, you might have needed to be subscribed on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, or subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. You might have needed to be subscribed to see this last night. And by the way, I was in communication with Odyssey this morning. They're extending the use of Stripe for another week while they continue to sort out the transfer to this new payment system that they're going to be doing. And they also confirmed that even if you subscribe today on Odyssey, you'll have access to all the membership features even after Stripe payment ends for the full 1 month duration of your sponsorship. So it's as good a time as ever to sponsor on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth. I do love Odyssey. They're very responsive, and they're constantly making updates to their platform, and they are really fighting for First Amendment and for everybody to have a voice. But I was talking on the sponsor exclusive segment with Charles last night about this super weird circumstance. Now wait a minute, maybe that's where I lose signal. But it is an awesome view of the Chrysler building, isn't it? That's an awesome building, I love it. You can't really go up in there though, not easily. I was in a lawyer's office in there one time many years ago. But you see, Charles, he's an interesting person to get to know because, see, a lot of people, when I started Crowdsource the Truth, would say to me, oh, this thing, totally unrelated to anything Charles is talking about, has to do with fraud. Have him investigated. I'm investigating this and that, and let's have Charles investigate it, because Charles is smart and good at figuring things out, and my thing is the most important thing in the world. Well, I mean, Charles has experienced basically what I have, which is basically every single person who contacts you believes that whatever their particular topic is the most important thing in the world. And you can't ask Charles to investigate something or hire Charles to investigate something. It's not the way that he works. Something has got to pique his interest in order for him to want to investigate it or even talk about it. And the other thing that I've learned about Charles is that he very much opposes injecting himself into discussions about things that he's not only, he doesn't want to talk about things that he isn't an expert in, and even moreover, even if he is an expert, if he hasn't looked into that particular thing and studied and understand what it is he's going to say to you about it, who is this fancy schmancy person getting into a Rolls Royce?
I guess maybe.
That's super fancy. The roller. But unless Charles has studied the thing and knows what he's going to say to you about it, he doesn't want to get into topics like where he's just spitballing. So,
a Christian nation.
Well, at least that guy
And some of them
upgraded his PA system.
are enemies of this Christian
Look,
nation.
that guy,
And they are what is called a Trojan
he
horse
got the high fidelity Jesus intercom.
that is opened up
Much
from
better.
within America and trying to destroy America.
Doesn't grate the ears in the way all those other
To turn
bullhorn dudes
against America.
have in the
We
past.
saw that going on.
But anyway,
with
Charles
the
doesn't like to just
Democrats.
randomly spout off
Now, we
on topics.
appreciate
It's a good
Democrats.
policy,
We appreciate the liberals,
but like anything,
but the liberals
it can have a
to-
double edge. And sometimes it prevents us from hearing good input from Charles on topics that he might have good input on because he's just like adamant about that policy. Now, I have my own characteristics. I'm highly persuasive. I have nice ways of doing that and then not nice ways of doing that. And for people that are my friends and who I like Charles, I rely on the nice ways. And I first understand how he operates and what it is that I'd like him to do and how I can maneuver a situation to get him to do it. And basically it involves, you just got to present him with something that will pique his interest and sort of get him to be curious about it and ask about it. And we succeeded in doing that yesterday. Alex. And the thing that piqued Charles' interest was that Alex Spiro had been board of directors of this Turkish ride-sharing app called Marti, M-A-R-T-I. It seems New York care about no sense. Oh, damn it. Might have just lost the broadcast and I wasn't looking at the thing. How is that happening? We've got a strong signal right there. Did I lose everybody? Not. Man, all this redundant. Come on now. Still live? Hard to tell. I hope so. Anyway, please become a sponsor. Help me fund all this link aggregated bonded internet. Are we dead? Let's see, we'll see in a second. I see myself frozen, stuttering. I think it's going to come back. I hope it's going to come back. It's full signal. Why did it do that? Very irritating. Anyway, I piqued Charles' interest with this Alex Spiro getting onto the board. Yeah, it looks like we're back. Turn the corner there. With Alex Spiro getting elected to the board of this company, Marti, I don't have the numbers in front of me right now, but this prompted Charles to ask me a series of questions that we went to Yahoo Finance to look up, just about the quality of that the financial performance of that company that Alex Spiro is on the board of. And Charles just immediately, it was like negative 200% of, I forget what numbers, but the types of numbers that investors look at when they try to decide if a company is worth investing in or if it's total crap. And Alex Spiro, being a lawyer, why does he need to be on the board of a Turkish ride-sharing app? I don't know. It just seems kind of super outside the realm of stuff that he's involved with. And it's very suspicious given all of Eric Adams' problems with Turkey. Don't know. We didn't really arrive at any conclusions, but getting that input from Charles I felt was very useful, because that's part of Crowdsource the Truth, right? It's entirely probable that Charles, had he and I not met and gotten into crowdsourcing the truth together, it's just entirely probable that he would have not been thinking about Alex Spiro or Turkey, right now. But the fact that I was, and all the stuff that's happened with me and my lawsuit against the city of New York, and the involvement of Quinn Emanuel and Alex Spiro and Elon Musk, and indirectly Eric Adams. He is the mayor, and I am suing the city and the NYPD, and we do have good reason to believe that the people who attacked me might have been a private security team controlled by Ed Caban or his associates, NYPD former commissioner, disgraced former commissioner, fired. But yeah, so Charles basically immediately said, this company is ridiculous. Below 5 on the New York Stock Exchange. It was like 2.96, $2, $3 a share, something like that. So Charles is telling us, look, he hasn't researched and investigated that company, but right away, red flags all over it. So what does that mean? I don't know. But there's more stuff about Alex Spiro. Obviously, Adams' lawyer. On the docket. Counsel on when, given the name, a note from Juan's doctor, come to. Again, I'm not but an ex parte counsel. Party is, you're not allowed. So who's around? Weirdo people with masks on and heavy coats trying to cut my broadcast? Did I get lost there? Are people still with me? I hope we're still live. We're talking about some sensitive stuff here. The CIPA hearing. Did I get cut off? Come on now. Bring me back. We're back. Okay. So I think people on YouTube are experiencing some roughness. One other advantage is that if the broadcast is messed with like this, if you subscribe on Odyssey, even for free, at the end of the show, you will get a fully uninterrupted video. So if there's ever dropouts on YouTube or X or any of the other channels, subscribe to odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, even for free, and you'll be able to see the full interrupted video. That's just due to the nature of the technology of Odyssey versus some of these others. People should also be following on X at JG_CSTT. But we're back live. And what I was saying is, Alex Spiro, this wonderful attorney, I don't know if Alex Spiro is Greek. The name sounds like it might be. I don't know really anything about Alex Spiro other than what I read in the news or on a docket of the court or in this little one exchange of emails. That wasn't even with Alex Spiro. That was with associates of his at Quinn Emanuel. But the point is, he wrote that letter to the court saying, hey, there's this ex parte CIPA hearing coming up for Schmendrick Adams. See, we've got these security cameras everywhere, and I just wonder, obviously that's very probably private security for this design studio, but could it be a network of cameras around the city that the police have access to and can see me wherever I walk and say, hey, somebody hit that guy with a radio signal, or maybe they have radio towers around where they could just disrupt a phone call or a cell communication or whatever. Point is, Alex Spiro writes that letter on behalf of Eric Adams. An ex parte communication is when you communicate with the judge excluding the other side. You're not allowed to do that, but he says it's an ex parte hearing with the defense counsel, so that's Alex Spiro. And he's asking if, Eric Adams can not have to show up. And they said, okay, yeah, he doesn't have to show up. And then there's this sealed document entered on the docket. We don't have access to that. I don't know what is in that sealed document. But I also didn't know what a CIPA hearing was. But thanks to the power of AI, not DeepSeek, just regular AI, we've learned that a CIPA hearing refers to a pre-trial hearing held in a federal criminal case where the court determines that there could be confidential information, and they're trying to avoid gray mail. CIPA was primarily enacted to address the practice of gray mail, where a defendant threatens to disclose classified information to gain leverage in a criminal case. What the what? That is huge. So there's classified information in a pretrial, whatever that CIPA stands for, classified information. They're trying to figure out, weigh the balance between the defendant's right to a fair trial and the danger of revealing this classified information. So it seems like whatever this classified information is, this is a big part of why things have not moved forward in the Eric Adams case in the way a lot of people might have expected them to already. See, it also causes me to wonder, I didn't know about that CIPA. What is it? Let's look at it again, because I already forgot what it means. CIPA hearing. Classified Information Procedures Act. So that's a law. I better go look that up. Did people know about that? Classified Information Procedures Act? Because what happens if such issues arise in a civil case? Or, in other words, what happens if you stumble upon classified information in the public domain? Or what if you figure something out that's classified, but you just figure it out? Remember how pissed off the FBI got at Dr. Corsi when they said, how did you know that, I forget the details, but he was telling us that he got all jammed up and Andrew Weissman's people were questioning him and they didn't believe that he just figured out that Julian Assange was going to do something or was likely to do something. The FBI determined that, Corsi had to know, and that he had some kind of communication with Russians or WikiLeaks or Roger Stone. I forget what the details of that were, but I remember in Dr. Corsi's testimony, he was saying that the FBI insisted that he must have had some kind of communication with people they were trying to force him to admit he was communicating with, and he said no, he just figured it out from looking at public domain information, listening to what Julian Assange says, and having sort of a hunch. So along the lines of this Classified Information Procedures Act, what happens if you're in a civil case and you're pro se and you figure out, like, I don't know, something classified, like Felix Sater is a secret agent or something? You don't really have an attorney. Like, I mean, are they... So if Alex Spiro, what does that mean? That the defense counsel goes to the hearing on Eric Adams' behalf? Do they have Eric Adams and no attorney there? Can Spiro be involved in such a hearing if he doesn't have a classified, security clearance? Elon Musk has said that he has a security clearance, so maybe his lawyer does too. Maybe this is the subject of the conversations with Trump. What classified stuff does Eric Adams know about? I don't think the mayor of New York has obviously he doesn't have a security clearance, or he'd be allowed to go to the hearing. I don't know. Do any other lawyers, maybe somebody's watching and knows something more about this CIPA Act, Classified Information Procedures Act? But I'll have to look that up and see if it talks about these procedures. I mean, there it's talking about in a criminal thing. Maybe there's nothing for civil, because maybe they haven't anticipated the possibility that somebody would figure out something classified. Now, I was looking at the comments. I saw people talking about the Black Hawk crash. I have posted some stuff on X about that with Amazon really crashing into things on the sidewalk. Obviously, that guy's not in control of the bicycle. Was it Amazon? Who's he riding for? Dutch. This guy's crashing into everything. Is that Amazon? It's ridiculous that he's riding that on the sidewalk. People are going to get hurt. I did post some observations on X earlier. Encourage people to check those out. Obviously, I'm not a Black Hawk helicopter pilot. I'm not a helicopter expert. I've done a lot more flying in helicopters than your average civilian due to my cinematography career. I used to do a lot of flying in helicopters, but I don't really have any first-hand information aside from my own observations on that, so I don't have much to say. I saw that the transponder was off. I don't know about military procedures or what. I think most people realize that in 2025, even without seeing the patent or the demo video, it seems pretty obvious that really almost any aircraft could be, electronically modified in some way to be remotely piloted or autonomously piloted or something like that. Now, I was by here earlier before. This is pretty funny. So this is the Empire State Building, one of my favorites. And they have a rat strike. Are people familiar with the inflatable rat movement? It's interesting. Let's have a look at it. Basically, when these union guys get pissed off, see, it says, "Shame on Empire." And they have a cadre of inflatable rats that they can strategically position outside these buildings to let people know that somebody in there is a rat. It's tough to get the this is autographed memorabilia. This is new. So this is a giant sports trading card store here in the ground floor of the Empire State Building, and then they have a podcast going on. What is going on there? That's interesting. So I guess if people know this is a permanent location coming soon. So this is some sort of event this thing is doing. I don't know. I guess there's a way you can bid on Dave and Adam's live breaks. These guys are definitely doing a podcast inside the Empire State Building. That's cool. So if you're watching that, I don't know. But anyway, back to the rats. Here you can see. It's a lot of shame on Empire, shame on Empire. And here are the rats. So what's the story with the rats?
So they have like non-union work going on inside the Empire State Building, and we're union, obviously.
Do you think they're using illegal immigrants for the labor?
Probably.
But so the
I
union
don't know
is upset about non-union labor. Just curious about the rats.
This is all the information right here.
Committed to a healthy, diverse, and equitable workplace that actively promotes employment. Yeah, so there's some sort of carefully curated message here. But we have the small rats, medium-sized rat, and the giant rat. Now, here's the guy already cleaning up the graffiti. So I guess it's Empire State versus the rat people. These guys work for the Empire State Building. Are the rats throwing off the tourism at all?
I'm not sure. It's always slow in the winter. So
Yeah.
it's hard to say.
And do you guys, is it affecting your work day to be here in the shadow of a giant rat?
Oh, I love it. Hi, welcome everyone.
Not scary. Why do they have a cat? Does that make any sense? The cat?
Oh, the cat is from our building.
Oh, the cat is from your
The
building
cat is
to
ours.
counteract the rats. Ah, wow. Well, that's pretty clever. So we've got a cat from... Wow. All right. Interesting. I don't know if that's an effective form of protest, but it's like a mini Thanksgiving parade with inflatable rats and cats. Now, the other thing I noticed is weed stores have begun to reopen. So I guess it's because they've realized, you know, that court ruled that Eric Adams' Operation Padlock to Protect was unconstitutional and stole everybody's weed and money. So I guess we now have a second generation of weed stores opening. The once mighty weed world has fallen. So anyway, I don't know what this Confidential Information Protection Act involves, but it would make sense if that came into play in some of my cases. Perhaps former FBI General Counsel, currently bloated fat pig, and U.S. District Court Judge Valerie Caproni, she has a security clearance, I would think. Certainly as the FBI General Counsel, she would have to have that. She was all involved in writing all kinds of stuff and telling the FBI agents what to do about having tortured people or observed torture in Abu Ghraib. Did people know she was involved in that? There's a thing called the Torture Database that has a lot of writing about Valerie Caproni. Now, it sounds like there's kind of cop cars coming from all around. Something happening? Ambulance? We'll keep going. But, you see, if there is an attorney who has a security clearance and a judge who has a security clearance and the prosecutor who is the U.S. attorney or an assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York, they could all sit around and talk about classified information and say, well, you know, we don't want your client getting into gray mail. What do people think? I've never heard that before. I've heard about blackmail, blackmailing somebody. That's all what Jeffrey Epstein and probably P. Diddy was doing with his nasty videos. But see, the purpose of this Confidential Information Protection Act is to prevent gray mail. Was Eric Adams involved in gray mail? It sounds like the kind of thing that he would do, right? He had a lot of confidence that he wasn't going to get into any trouble. Was it because he had this classified information that he felt he could gray mail or blackmail people with? And who were those people? Maybe it was Joe Biden. Maybe it was Joe Biden. Maybe Eric Adams knows what the Army is doing inside the Walcott Hotel and inside the Roosevelt Hotel. And he's saying, well, I'm just going to take a whole bunch of money from this for myself because obviously what you guys are doing is insanely illegal. And if I just start telling people about it, you're going to get in a lot more trouble than me. Maybe that was what he was thinking. I don't know. Seems possible, doesn't it? So, this whole New York Times article that we looked at yesterday on the show with Charles, that was saying that, I think it was the New York Times presumption that federal prosecutors might drop the case against Eric Adams, because it just said that had been spoken about, that top-level people from the Trump administration had floated the idea with the Southern District of New York, saying, hey, U.S. attorneys in the Southern District of New York, what do you think about dropping this case against Eric Adams? Because maybe Eric Adams went to Donald Trump and said, hey, all that stuff I was saying about putting you in Rikers Island, that was just a funny joke. Ha ha. I'm MAGA now, and I could tell you all this stuff about Joe Biden if you want to know. And then maybe Donald Trump said, I'm all ears. And maybe Eric Adams said, hey, here's the answer to whatever it is that we don't know about what's going on in the Walcott Hotel and the Roosevelt Hotel. And maybe Donald Trump said, wow, that's super interesting information. And maybe we won't put Eric Adams in jail now. Maybe. But then these new people who just got the job under Donald Trump are saying like, hey, why don't we let Eric Adams go? And maybe the Southern District of New York is saying, no way, man. That dude is up to crazy criminal stuff. So we just really don't know. So let's see if there's any change. See, there's been a really dramatic change in demeanor outside the Walcott Hotel, because basically every other time that I came over here, particularly since discovering the Army and those Tren de Aragua looking guys with the little baby, there's been a real big difference in just the kind of demeanor of the neighborhood here, in that it doesn't seem like every single person here is looking at me or trying to video record me as I walk around. And it seems like there's far fewer gang-looking people hanging out right outside the hotel. It seems that way. Could be normal. you know, we still got sketchy looking people hanging out in the nooks and crannies here. But that's really not unusual for New York, necessarily. Maserati outside this hotel. You know, I mean, again, that's not necessarily abnormal either.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that.
Seems like a lot of moving trucks.
Look, 303 says it's right over there.
Can we read this sign from across the street? It's a pretty normal sign for an office building. You need proper identification to enter. You know, I don't know. If there is anything going on at this hotel in an ongoing kind of way, it's more covert than it was previously. That guy just checked me out. A lot of moving vehicles. Now, did these guys clear out when they noticed me pointing a camera over here? Black on that entrance, covered entrance. How you guys doing? How you doing? What? You guys know anything about Tren de Aragua? No. Right. It's a lot of expensive cars parked outside this building, aren't there? What the hell are these guys doing? Now, does that look like somebody we've seen at the hotel before? Is that the guy who works at the hotel? Loading empty boxes, huh? How's it going? Volunteer, what is this? Vehicle is official NYC EMS business. Man, that pays well. at the AMC Mercedes doing official business. This is a weird outfit to be loading a truck, isn't it? All these trucks know each other. Odin. Strange. I just really have no idea what's going on there. Hi. That guy looked concerned about a camera. Is there something happening on 31st Street that's not obvious? Look, it's not unusual for Mercedes and Maseratis to be parked around New York City. I mean, we got a Hyatt right here. Maybe people are staying there. I don't know. I don't know. But we've got classified information in that Eric Adams hearing. It took place yesterday. I continue to be disconnected from the internet at times when I've got, 4 dots of 5G plus, which is like the strongest possible thing you can have. What do people think about all this? Korean trying not to be seen. Right. Non-profit transportation. Right. No, it's $9 to enter, not to exit. It's just $9 to enter from that congestion fee. It really is bad. I mean, they should make it like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. would be reasonable. They make it until 9 p.m. I mean, who is doing business and what congestion do we have at 9 p.m.? It makes it difficult for me as a resident of Manhattan to have the convenience of a car. Dave and Adam's Live Break is live looking for rookie cards. Well, if you're on their live stream, tell them that was Crowdsource the Truth going by there. I don't know that podcast, but there they were inside the Empire State Building waving to me, so that was cool. I was sort of on their podcast indirectly. I don't know, what do people think about that activity outside the Walcott Hotel? Odin is for bed bugs? Okay, so maybe now that all the migrants are left, they throw away all the mattresses and clear out the bed bugs and then reestablish that hotel. I mean, they've still stolen tons of money from taxpayers. We still haven't really had a very clear explanation of what the hell the Neighborhood Association of Intercultural Affairs was doing over there. Oh, $19.95 on the van, right. I think that's just to, they charge you by the mile as well. I used a U-Haul one time for something, and it was remarkably more expensive than I thought it would be. No criticism of U-Haul, just be aware that it's not necessarily inexpensive, and it's terrible to drive. It's a bad vehicle. That's sort of obvious. It's a giant box. So, I mean, that's basically it. I don't necessarily have answers for people. It's mostly questions. What is this? Classified information, right? See, Tucker Carlson said, oh, this indictment is a joke. It's about you just getting a bribe. Tucker Carlson said, oh, well, you're just getting flight upgrades from Turkish Airlines. But it was like hundreds of thousands of dollars, A. What the hell does the mayor of New York need to go to Turkey for? Doesn't seem to have anything to do with New York. Or if he does, what happened to my sound? Huh, something weird just happened there. If he does have any New York City business to do with Turkey, why doesn't Turkey come to New York? I mean, that's the thing, he's not an international something bad happening again. He's the mayor of New York, and New York is in shambles. Why is he going to Turkey? Also, keep in mind, General Flynn got jammed up with something to do with Turkey. What the hell is going on in Turkey that all these guys are getting involved in Turkey? And you know, when Charles gave us his evaluation of that Marty company as being a total piece of crap, you know, there is a conceivable scenario. I was looking at this live streaming software that was made by a company in Turkey. Now, if I came out one day and said, oh, I invested in a live streaming company that is in Turkey, would people find that suspicious? I have no reason to be in Turkey, but if that's where the live streaming company is and making their software, if there's something about their live streaming software that I, as a professional live streaming guy, found out about, that might make sense to people. So, like, if Alex Spiro went on the board of like let's say an AI company that was making some AI lawyer, and that company happened to be in Turkey, maybe that wouldn't be suspicious. He's obviously a young guy with some interest in technology. I mean, Elon Musk is his client. He must know something about technology. Him investing in something in Turkey that has to do with lawyering would make sense, but why rideshare app? And also, if the company is doing terribly, why would such a savvy lawyer with so many investment opportunities through his close friend Elon Musk get involved in something in Turkey? It sort of reeks of having something to do with Eric Adams being jammed up in Turkey. And I don't know what that is, but is this another, hey, you're going to get involved in our crooked scheme so that we are confident that you won't be gray mailing us? That dog was looking at me the whole time, very interested in the live streaming. Maybe that dog will invest in Turkey. That would make sense. Dogs would eat turkeys. It's just a whole collection of things that don't make sense. And so, I mean, again, we don't know if Donald Trump is or is not going to pardon Eric Adams. It's just been a lot of talk about it. And remember, the other thing that Sal has told us many times about the NYPD and Eric Adams, and specifically John Schell, is that they're trying to control the narrative. You know, something that I have observed, that there's a lot of these people, when I talk about stipulating reality, they think that by saying something, it makes that fact. And they just keep saying it and keep saying it and keep saying it, like Russia hacked or whatever. They just say that a million times. That's part of their strategy. So there it is. If anybody has any ideas or information about this Confidential Information Protection Act, I'm all ears.
He's more effective, more or less time.
Well, people are saying Obama released 150 million to Iran, 150 billion to Iran. Right, but I mean, what does that have to do with Turkey? I don't know that that pertains. See, Charles said that hotel, Roosevelt Hotel, was somehow owned by Pakistan. But, I mean, what does that mean, really? Who actually owns it, and why is the FBI so involved there? Why is the Army in there? And that sign that said, go to 45 East 45th Street, I was confused by that. Why wouldn't it just say, go to the Roosevelt Hotel? But they've moved that operation inside the hotel. All of these New Yorkers or Americans or whoever those guys are working for those things, they seem to work for the nonprofits. I don't know, maybe Trump is onto this, you know, cutting off these government grants to nonprofits. Maybe that's got something to do with it. We're just going to have to see. The ex parte hearing about the confidential, classified information. Yeah, see, that's it. I keep confusing confidential and classified because in my civil case, that's what Caproni did with the email that I allege George's asshole brother sent. And George's brother has been allowed to violate a lot of different laws, as I see it. I could be incorrect about that, I'm not a law enforcement officer or a lawyer, but he's doing things that appear to me to be violations of law. I certainly wouldn't do them for fear that I'd be arrested, and nothing ever seems to happen to him. They're constantly making decisions that seem to be in his favor. Could this be that there isn't any consideration for civil cases in the Classified Information Protection Act, and so they need to improvise and sort of do things off the books to keep information that I know out of the public record and to diminish my, I'm not an ex-government or military, like nobody gave me classified information. I just figured all this stuff out because George's brother is such an idiot that what he does reveals, a variety of different things. So, I don't know. Is that what they're doing? Are they improvising to try to keep my information out and out of the public domain and to try to prevent me from ever talking about this? That's what the Emmys tried to get me to sign a stipulated agreement saying you're never allowed to talk about this case again. You're never allowed to talk about Adam Sharp or Valerie Caproni or anybody who's involved. That's what they wanted. They said, you're going to have to pay us $980,000, but we'll drop that if you sign this agreement. I said, F you. You're not going to get that money, and I'm not going to sign the agreement. Both of those things happened. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Please become a sponsor. You still have a few more days or weeks to sponsor on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, and you'll still maintain full access for the month that you pay for as little as $3 and only a 58-cent Odyssey fee. So please subscribe on Odyssey if you're not already. You could also choose to subscribe on crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com or, of course, on subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. People can also subscribe on X now. I'm there at JG_CSTT. We'll find out more about what's going on with Eric Adams, maybe even later today. Now we got to go watch the Kash Patel